Hey guys, Terence here. Let's talk Reef. We're Cyber Monday with Paul.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Totally casual, sitting here, super comfortable.
It's definitely been a chill day. You know, we've just kind of watched as we've kind of recuperated from the Black Friday holiday craziness, right, Terence?
Oh yeah, great family times.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you had a great Thanksgiving time off.
I did have a good Thanksgiving time off. Ate plenty of food. Everyone enjoyed all their fixings and everything like that. So you know, what the holidays about.
I was watching the sale, so I was full on family mode as much as I possibly could. But then every once in a while, I'm sneaking a peek to see how stuff is selling through and see all the questions from all the new owners and everything else that's coming through.
I got called out 1 or 2 times. Why? What are you doing with your phone?
Yeah.
Like refreshing a web page.
We want to know. We want to know what's going on. Yeah, a lot of stuff happening out there at the local fish stores. Definitely. It's funny. I did see one post. Somebody said that the bubble had popped on Tridents. I think they might be a little premature on that one.
I don't know about that. You know, I was checking with both of our local fish sales managers, you know, our East West Coast, Tom and Vincent, asking them, hey, do you know of any stores that still have Tridents? And they didn't know of any stores.
Right.
Or they weren't spoken for already.
Yeah. So I think that that person, you know, maybe it was wishful thinking or something. I don't know. But definitely the Tridents were the first things to go across the board. As far as the online guys are concerned, they did it differently. Some of them released a whole bunch in the very beginning of last week, like over a week ago, and some of them released a whole bunch of them on Black Friday. Some of them reserved a bunch for, you know, I know for packages that they did. Like these super elite Neptune packages.
Well, like the complete package, right? Of somebody just getting into the ecosystem, or somebody maybe was just running a classic on their small tank before, but now they're upgrading, right? So those people, you know, had an option in which they could get everything in a package deal and get the ultimate savings as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big ticket, though. I mean, come on, let's admit. I mean, it isn't a small commitment to come in and pony up over $2,000 full of gear for your tank.
Maybe we should have a competition for our resellers with what kind of great package name they can come up with.
Oh, like
like the ultimate dream bundle, right? You know,
you've got titanium plus.
Right.
24 karat.
I even saw some resellers. They'll sell like an Echo Dot, you know, with them as well. To talk about the Alexa integration.
So you could get the Alexa integration built into it right out of the gate. You'd be using that and being able to feed your fish and do all those cool things.
And in terms of tech this year, I mean, it seems like everywhere that I was going, I got, you know, I always like to go to Black Friday at Best Buy and just like walk around.
Really?
I do. I think this is fun.
Okay.
Like, I don't like to do it like at the doorbuster time, right? But I like to go like 11:30 noon, you know, get my coffee on Saturday and just kind of peruse around. I don't go on Friday, I should say.
Yeah.
I picked up a new monitor that you saw for like, you know, pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, the giant monitor. Hide Paul with a monitor.
Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Doesn't beat Tom's monitor, though. So
No, Tom's monitor is ridiculous. But, you know, I saw just all the people in front of me. One guy got 4 free Echo Dots with everything that he had purchased in the day.
Wow.
I got 1 Echo Dot, you know. So that was definitely a hot item. And when I was on Amazon, they were just pushing on
I know
stuff.
I love all the automation, obviously, because of all the Neptune stuff. And in my house, I know I picked up 2 garage door openers that said they had Alexa and that I could check my garage door state.
Yeah.
It's all getting like that. I walk into my bedroom and I go, Alexa, turn on the fireplace, and the fireplace comes on. So we're definitely entering that era, and everybody wants their aquarium to be able to do the same thing too. And it showed this Black Friday for sure.
Definitely.
So what we're doing here today, guys, is it's very casual. I want you guys to share the stream, please. Let people know, especially all these people that are out there getting new Apex setups, and share it. We're going to do some question and answers, really casual. We'll have some swag for, you know, everybody who joins in today. We'll do a drawing after the fact and get a few people that will get some of that cool swag. And just want to let you know, too, is that Black Friday is still on because it's Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday today. So 10% off, right? The entire Neptune Systems product line.
Except
the Trident. But if you can
find
the
reagents.
And the reagents.
I have to tell them that.
You never mentioned the
because
reagents.
they'll replay this back and they'll make a GIF out of it or something that.
Terence said that, you know, just Tridents.
Right.
No. So, but I don't think you'd be able to find a Trident anyways. There are dealers that still have a reagent in stock, but that was a hot item as well.
Yeah.
So,
and so if you have questions, put them up here. We're going to be pulling them one at a time. But if you are looking to get an Apex, or for instance, if you're looking to get a dose and you want to get that discount, you better start looking right now because they're already out of stock at Bulk Reef Supply. They're already out of stock at saltwateraquarium.com. They're probably in very low supply at Marine Depot and Premium Aquatics if they still have any. And then all of your local fish stores too, they got in anywhere between maybe 2 to even some of them had 10 of them. But by now, I don't know how many they would have. And we don't do these sales except once a year. So
I asked Tom, I said, hey, Tom, do you have any Tridents left? No. And I said, how did Dose do, right? And he said, every store that I went into by the end of the day, the last store that I went to also had all their Dose sold out.
So if you're watching this and you wanted a dose while we're on the live stream, just go out there and pick one up because they're not going to last. The Apexes at a lot of the online retailers for sure, I know, are starting to get down there in their numbers of availability. So by midnight tonight Eastern time, which is when we shut it down, which is only, how many hours left do we have in that? I guess that's 6 hours left. For you to get your Neptune Systems deals. So,
and I saw a lot of customers today were just calling in this morning asking retail questions, trying to make their final purchase decisions. If you have one of those purchase decisions right now, feel free to put it up in the live stream. We're very happy to answer those so we can make sure that you get the best product for your needs. Or hey, give us a call still. Our guys are happy to answer your questions. We're going to be here till 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you do have any pre-sales questions in determining what's going to be best for you.
Yep, absolutely. Well, let's see if we got any questions here.
Oh, good question, Matt. Good question.
Let's get Matt's question. Let's see if I can drag it down.
It's kind of. Is it to the side normally, maybe?
Oh no, you know what I think I can do? I think I can just double click on it. I think if I double click, if I double clicked, there it is.
Cool. So no,
the question is, I got a question for you. I finally hooked up all my Alexa stuff to my Apex. Is there any way to have the tank parameters display on the Echo Show?
Not right now. At the time when we started first developing the Alexa app, the Alexa shows were still pretty new. With the new Show 5 or whatever they came out with at this season at a great deal, we might look into that. But
well, I know you can pull the dashboard up.
You can pull the dashboard up, but in terms of just having like a widget,
no, not the custom widget, but you can pull up the dashboard if you want to and show that up on there. And then obviously, as most people know, you can say, Alexa, tell Apex Fusion to give me my parameters, and it'll speak them to you.
Yeah, engineering, if I'm wrong, feel free to come and correct me.
Yeah, or comment on this if you're watching it, because I know you guys watch these streams too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Let's see other questions. People want swag. Derek likes his orange shirt. Reagents are sold out. Here you go. So here is this one. How often do I need to calibrate my Trident, and what is the routine service experience like? Do you pay the shipping?
Calibrating the Trident, you're going to calibrate the Trident every time you replace your reagents. That's all 3 reagents, not just A.
So it's every 2 months if you're running on the regular
Yes, so every 2 months
schedule.
if you're running on the regular schedule. You want to run 2 or 3 tests before calibrating, making sure that everything went appropriately with
so all the lines are charged. And
yeah, I mean, you may have opened the drawer and closed it and then kink one of the reagent pickup lines or something like that. And then in terms of the routine service, we haven't really announced many details on that other than that at some point the Trident will need to be serviced, right? We'll probably have an option where you can send yours in. We'll probably have an option where we send one out to you. We'll probably have an option where you can do it yourself, right? Pricing and that kind of stuff, we still don't know.
We don't know exactly. I mean, we know that the do-it-yourself option, I believe, is going to be less than $75. I think is what we came up with.
Yeah, something between 75 to 100.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then as far as when we're going to let that information out, I would expect next quarter that information is going to come out because we will start to be hitting at that point a little bit closer in, maybe the quarter after.
I think it'll maybe next quarter, but it might be sometime this summer. When we get to that
the
point.
following summer.
I mean, at this point, right? Even Tridents that we have in the building, they've been running for some period of time, and they don't need a lot of they don't need a lot of hand care either. So that whole service interval and the experience with that service interval, there's a lot of questions we don't know. it makes sense that things like the dose roller head will need to be replaced.
Well, and you need, there has to be more numbers running before you get a true understanding. I mean, we have understandings from all the testing that we've done and running these things nonstop. You have 7 or 8 of them at your desk there that you're running nonstop. And that gives us really good information to understand the longevity, but it's still, the sample size is not as big as, the thousands that we already have out there right now.
Yeah, exactly. And so we don't know, but we promise it will be reasonable.
It'll be forthcoming, it'll be reasonable, and it's going to be one of those things I think most people, a great number of people are going to want us to do it or swap out as opposed to doing it themselves.
Yeah,
because that's
again, we don't know.
Sure.
I think there'll be options for every type of user out there.
Okay, here's another one. Lucas says, could you elaborate on the process for calibrating your salinity probe upside down to get the most accurate readings? What do you think about that?
Lucas, I don't know what you're talking about. The salinity probe does not need to be mounted upside down.
However, some people are claiming that they get better results that way.
So I don't feel that is a good way to do it. Overall, the issue will become is once you submerge that, right, you're submerging the junction where the wire actually comes into the probe,
and
so the likelihood that you're going to get you're going to get a short out at some time because it's not going to be indefinite, right?
Correct.
My opinion, which I've said overall, and again, is that the best way to do this is if you're in a situation where you're building up a lot of microbubbles and you don't have a lot of flow where the salinity probe is, all of those things, which the upside down probe hypothetically would help with, right? Is to just get a small little power head, get a 60-20, get one of those little tiny Corallian.
Because the idea is you want to have flow going over the probe, but you don't want bubbles with flow going over the probe.
Exactly. And so what you do when you place one of these small little nano power heads onto the at the direction of the probe, it just lets water flow happen. It pushes off any microbubbles, and you don't need to mount it at more than a 20 or 30 degree angle. I think a lot of the issues that people have, in general with like the salinity probe, is that there's all these mitigating factors that can kind of affect it. Your Abyss pump, for example, right? It greatly affects your salinity measurements by almost 3 ppt. At the end of the day, what we ended up doing in your situation too is just calibrating the probe in your tank water.
Right. That I knew my tank water was what I wanted it to be.
Exactly.
It's my 35 ppt, whatever that is. It could be 34 and a half, but it's my 35 ppt.
It's your 35, and I think if you ultimately are not getting good results from doing a true calibration, don't worry about the accuracy of it. Worry about the precision of it, and the precision can be obtained by just leaving your tank, like pulling the probe out of the water, right? Doing the zero calibration, putting the probe in your tank water, giving it a good, making sure there's no air bubbles, getting a couple jostles,
swirl around,
and then accepting that high value. It's going to say it's 35. Right. You'll be happy, right? May not actually be 35,
and also but
it'll be the precision that you're concerned
The other thing, too, that, I've had so many, I know you have conversations with people, especially at the booth and whatnot at shows, where they come up and they say, my salinity probe just isn't working. And you look at their you look at their phone and you can just see a consistent 33.2 to 33.5 ppt, and they're like, it's just, look how much it's varying, and it's not at 35, and it's like, you are so close to awesome, you have no idea.
There's definitely that. There's temperature compensation. There's all these little tiny things, but in general, right, you should not need to mount the probe upside down. Some people have had great success with that.
Right.
I'm not going to knock it, but in the end, I don't think it's the best way to get a good salinity measurement long term.
Okay, so let's see. Let's see here if there's another question. I think this is a good one too that I've answered a number of times, which is, hey, Neptune Systems, my probes have been dry and in storage for a few months. Is there any way I can revive and reuse them? Before you answer that, Paul, one of the first things I want to answer is, if you are a new customer and you get your Apex and you see your probes and they have a little white crust around the cap, and it looks like that the fluid is not full in there. In fact, it might be just a few drops of fluid in there. Do not fret. It does not mean that your probes are bad, that they were shipped to you defective, or that there's some sort of a problem. It is simply the fact that different pressure, air pressure and whatnot, has worked some of the solution out to the edge, right, of that cap, and it has evaporated, creating that crust. Basically, that entire junction that's down there is now enclosed, and it's still moist in there, and you're not going to have a problem with the evaporation that you do if you have probes that have nothing on them for many months as this person does. So what would you tell McFukin here?
So, and to add on that, Terence, if you do see that your probes are dry when you receive them, there's not a lot of liquid in there, it's okay. The ORP probe doesn't need to be calibrated. It typically has anywhere from a 7 to 10 day break-in period. You're probably going to be more towards a 10 to 14 day break-in period if you have a dry ORP probe. pH probe, just do not calibrate before putting it into your tank. Leave it in your tank for 3 to 4 days, then go ahead and calibrate. Now, I missed the name, but
McFukin.
McFukin. That's probably your real name. What I'd recommend for you is replacing the pH and ORP probe. If it did dry out, it's been in storage. You're not in that same situation where you had a cap on the end of it, right? As a result of that, the probe just isn't going to give you good results down the line. Now, if you ever do need to store your caps, number one, you can order the replacement caps from a multitude of different companies.
They sell little bottles, too. The little bottles are cool.
Bulk Reef Supply carries them. You want to store those in calibration 4 solution.
Okay.
Yep. You store those in calibration 4. The probes will be in great. It's just like the storage solution that we send out with it, and you should have no issues.
Okay, perfect. Here's one I want to address, which is interesting, which is it true that I heard the temp probe is not very accurate? It is not true.
That is not true.
That is not true at all.
That is not an accurate statement.
In fact, first thing we need to talk about is precision to accuracy, right?
Yes.
And so out of the box, your temp probe may not be as accurate as you'd like it to be out of the box. It will be precise, but it may not be accurate as you would like it to be out of the box, which means it is keeping a consistent number of whatever that is in your tank, but it may be 2 degrees off what a NIST thermometer might show, or 1.5 degrees off what a NIST thermometer might show. So there is a calibration method inside the Apex to calibrate that probe.
Yes.
And if you don't have a NIST thermometer, which you can get from various places, including Bulk Reef Supply,
for like $30 or $40.
If you don't want to do that, you can get a couple of inexpensive digital thermometers, which, by the way, have a plus or minus, some of them like 2 degrees. But if you get 2 of those, put them in your tank and average them together, and then use that for your Apex, you're going to be pretty much as close as you need to be. What you want is you want the precision, right? So if your tank is really 78, and after even averaging the probes, it says it's 77, that 1 degree is not going to matter. Keeping your tank between 76.8 and 77.2, well, that's important.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little narrow, but I think
no, that's not too narrow for me.
I would tend to
disagree. I've got my new heating thing with the PEX tubing now, and it's pretty sweet already. So.
Okay, all right. So we're not getting a conversation of what the best temperature is or the temperature fluctuation that you should experience. But if you can pull out the temperature probe out of the water, let it get cold, and put it back in, and do that 10 times, and every time it just comes back to the same value, you've got a very good probe on your hands, which is something that our probe can pretty much do. Now, if you want to do a cold water tank, or you're trying to measure, an outside sunbox or something like that, that's when precision on our probe will start to vary. So below 50 degrees, precision will start to vary. Above 110 degrees, precision will start to vary. But that is in a tropical saltwater aquarium.
Right.
We designed our probe to be very precise in the range in which most aquariums operate in.
Yep.
So.
Okay, let's see if there's another good question in here. This is one that's good that we want to make sure we have here. Steve Dillon says, can you shorten the intake line means of the Trident without affecting the performance?
Let me pull back up from the Trident video. Do not shorten the sample tube.
Are you sure, Paul?
Do not shorten the sample
tube. But I have
tube.
Heard online.
Do not shorten the sample tube. No, Stephen, you cannot shorten the sample tube. It is very important that stays the exact same length. Everything we've done in terms of the way the Trident operates is based on that length of sample tube being a fixed volume. Now, the exit tube doesn't really matter so much, right? If you want to cut the exit tube because you don't want a lot of extra space, not a big deal. Okay. If you need your sample tube or exit tube to be longer, not a big deal. What I would recommend doing is just getting some RODI tubing, right? Put the exit line tubing inside that.
So there's an air around it kind of thing.
Yep, and then it can flow out to wherever you need it to flow to. Do not cut the sample line tubing, and you should be just good to go. If it's not long enough, You're just going to need to move the Trident closer to where it needs to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Here's a good one. It says, why do urchins eat the wires for the wave? You're not feeding them enough. That's why.
It's to a certain extent, yes, you are correct.
No, it's a special thing that we impregnate into all of the wires into their outer coating. It's it's egg flavored, and so it goes into all of our wires.
We're trying to sell waves here, right, Terence?
No, urchins in general are just opportunity feeders, and they're eating what is on top of the rocks. They're eating on top of what is out there, including stuff that's living and growing in coral and algae. And often that stuff gets onto wires, and who knows, maybe you have an urchin who just has an affinity for the taste of the insulation on a wire.
Right.
It's not just the wave, they'll eat just about anything.
They go through about anything.
So do triggers too. Triggers will do the same thing.
Right. Best thing I can say to do to prevent that from happening is regularly make sure that you are cleaning your wave so it is not so that wave cable is not encased in coralline.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of goodies on it for them to
so
want to eat.
Because they'll get over there, there's not going to be much algae on it, and they move on.
Yep.
Right. They're looking for that calcareous algae more so than anything else.
Salty Groves. Just set up Trident controlled dosing, working well. As my dosing demands increase, does it automatically learn how much I need to dose?
Do you want to take that one or me too?
Yeah, so the answer to that is yes and no, right? So assuming where your baseline level of dosing is that you set, like 100 milliliters, it's going to automatically start scaling up how much your tank needs to a point until it reaches a threshold. Standard is 35%, right, Paul? Mm-hmm. So it'll go up to 135 milliliters, and then if your tank demands more, it's going to go back to the 100 milliliter baseline, and you will have to manually up that baseline dosing amount. So it's kind of a dual answer. It's a yes and a no.
Right, and basically what you're going to see is if you see that your tank is starting to fall in alkalinity, right? That means, and we are getting close to that 135 milliliter max that we can be dosing, that's when you need to adjust your dosing up. You'll get an alarm once it actually does fall below your control level, okay? So if you say I want to maintain 8 and you start to get down to that 7.6, 7.7 range, you're going to get an alert based on that. And you can adjust that alert very easily by going to the task for input alarms, output alarms, I should say, and you can adjust that very easily, or you can click on the probe and just adjust it itself from the input list. If I think
for those of you that joined us late too, it is still Cyber Monday. So everything is still on sale, 10% off, except for the Trident and the reagents. Also, the Core 20 is $50 off, which is unprecedented, and the ATK is $30 off. And all of these are while supplies last, so some dealers are getting shorter and shorter on supply, local fish stores especially, and even some items at the big guys like BRS are already out of stock. So you're going to have to look around for them probably, but I would get on it. We're less than 6 hours away from shutting down.
The Core 20 has been a great seller this weekend.
We've sold hundreds. It is an amazing pump. It won the Best of 2019 from BRS.
A lot of reasons for that.
And it tied with another pump, which is saying a ton, right? Which is it tied with the Abyss pump, right?
Yeah,
so if you're looking to spend $1,500 on a pump, then you buy the Abyss pump. If you're looking to spend $300 on a pump and get a great pump, then you buy the Neptune Core 20 pump.
But only $300 today. It's going to go back up to $350 tomorrow.
That's correct.
So if you are needing a new pump, if you are happy with your pump now but you don't have a backup, consider the Core as that backup, but once you'll get it, you're going to switch out your old pump and make that the backup. It gives you a lot of resolution in terms of control. It's fully configurable with your Apex. We're one of the only manufacturers that provide the right output fitting to 1.25 inch.
That's true. Yeah, that's a very good point, Paul, is that, and it's one of the things, I get on a soapbox about, which is properly plumbing your tank. And it's one of the reasons why I recommended that we put that in with the Core for people.
Yep.
Because so many pumps these days come with 3/4 inch fittings. That's all they come with. And some of them have non-standard fittings as well. And what you really want is the biggest pipe you can get coming out of your pump because it provides the least amount of restriction. In the case of the Core 20, the right kind of middle of the road for that is an 1.25 inch pipe, and that's what the fitting, the union that we supply with it is for. Then you can go up to your tank. You can split it off into 4, 3/4 inch if you got a big tank.
Go 1 1/4 as far as you can.
Yep.
When you get to the bulkhead and you have to reduce down to 3 1/4, do so. Yes, this does mean you're going to make a trip to the hardware store.
Yeah.
Even if you want to go with a hose fitting, that's fine. Go 1 1/4 inch hose fitting as far as you possibly can, and then reduce it down at the last moment to 3/4.
Right. Right. So Jake Speed, hey, look at that. He was out looking at when we did our live stream at my place. Thank you for the positive comments on my reef. As all of you guys do, when stuff starts looking good, we all want to share it.
Yeah.
We're all excited. I was excited to share it with all of you guys. And if you guys haven't seen that, it is recorded. It's out there on Facebook and on YouTube. You can go out and take a look. Jake was asking me what's the coral, the big stag on the left side of the tank that was growing out of the tank. That I don't know. Obviously, I don't know exactly the scientific name, and if there's a real goofy name for it, I don't know it. I know it as the blue-tip green slimer.
Blue-tip green slimer, acropora.
Yeah, acropora, exactly. So that's what that one is if you're looking for it. If you happen to be in the San Jose area, you can probably get some of it over at Neptune Aquatics, and I actually was thinking about trimming that before my trip, and now I've kind of reconsidered and decided I'm going to do it when I get back home because I'm a little scared.
I get up to Roberts too. I got a lot of coral I got to take him.
So let's see here. Any chance you'll release an EB432? I don't know, man. It's we don't really talk about what's coming up unless we've talked about what's coming up, and there hasn't been an official announcement on anything like that. So
we've learned our lessons.
So this is Apex EL for 100%. This is funny, Trent.
Trent, you already won one.
So no, that's what he's saying. That's what Trent's actually saying. So if you guys would like, we can still donate to the Toys for Kids. We did a fundraiser last Tuesday for them on Let's Talk Reef with Dave Hammondtree from Reef to Reef. You can go out to reeftoreef.com and donate to that. Trent actually was one of the people who donated to get some swag and won the contest and got himself an Apex EL. But I will say, for those of you out there who continually post and put in polls online and feedback that we get, we would like to have a less expensive controller. I don't know how you could get more for your money than today with an Apex EL at $450.
$450 for an Apex L. Temperature monitoring, 8 outlets of control, all those outlets power monitored. The ability to get into the Neptune system's ecosystem.
3 one-link connections. Basically the Apex Fusion free for life, to get your cloud access. All of those things that you get with the Apex EL, I don't know how much cheaper somebody could expect that to be. In fact, that's an Apex EL for basically what other companies almost are selling one power head for.
Right, exactly.
I mean, really. In fact, you can get 2 wave power heads that will plug into the Apex EL and the Apex EL itself for under $800.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting 2,
which is the cost of 2 power heads from the other guy.
Well, so you're getting 8,000 gallons per hour in tank flow.
Correct.
You're getting you're getting the full Apex L package, right? Like if you've been looking for something that's going to fit your budget, I don't think we can go any lower.
Yeah,
right?
it really is.
I mean, we've already made that price of the Apex L so ultra.
Well, because so many other products that have come along, and many of them, quite frankly, have come and gone, right? That you think you're getting value because the price is $350. You're not getting value. You're generally getting 4 outlets. You might not be getting power monitoring. You're probably getting a cheap pH probe, not a double junction pH probe.
Yeah.
All of these things that you're not taking into consideration, and it's $100 cheaper.
And Terence, I'd like to go back to something you started there is, companies that are still around.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we've been in business now for how many years?
23 years.
23 years. We're getting close to that silver. right? The 25 isn't that the
25 years
silver, right? But like, you know, we've continued to remain in the industry. We've continued to remain relevant in the industry. And, you know, just in the last 5 years, you know, we see people come in. We see people go.
Seen, yes.
You know, just in the last 4 or 5 years, I think we've seen 3 or 4 competitors come in and go.
Well, in the last 4 days, I know there's a lot of chatter out there about other monitoring systems that may not be around. And so it really is important that if you're going to put your money towards something, that you know that the company is actually going to be around.
Yeah.
And that the hobbyists that also share in the community is huge. I mean, who wants to be one of the first 100 or 200, trailblazing the way?
I mean, there is. I can understand why people want to get what they think is the most cutting edge, but you have to think of something.
Or value. They think it's a better value
right?
when it's not necessarily.
But you want to choose. And there are other companies out there that offer what we offer, but I don't think anyone offers a more passionate group of hobbyists that run the company. Right? Like, Terence and I get up here every year, but there are multiple other hobbyists behind us and people that are very passionate about our company. People that don't run aquariums but are still very passionate about making a great product.
Yes.
And we've been here, we're continuing to stay here, and so I just wanted to really focus in on what you said there.
Right, absolutely. Okay, let's see.
Callie.
This is interesting. I don't exactly have an answer, but it's a good question to talk about. What's the motor life of dosing 1 gallon per day as an auto water change daily use? I don't have an exact number for you. I can tell you that the number of hours.
I can tell you.
Oh,
go ahead. Continue. I will answer this question.
The number of hours on a pump head should be around 500 to 700 hours. So you can kind of do the math on the pump head. I know that the motors themselves have about a 5,000 hour rated MTBF. So I think you're going to be a long time before you have to worry about that. I can tell you personally, I have been kind of doing my own test by running a calcium reactor and a sulfur denitrator feed from my dose for a long time, and thousands and thousands of hours without a failure. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. You will have to change a dose head on it. Maybe 1 gallon a day. It might be something where you have to change it once a year or once every 14 or 15 months. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Paul's still trying to figure it out.
I will actually give you an answer because now I'm just like, why don't I know that?
Now, here's another one that comes up too. Callie Groovy says, I wish I can afford a Neptune systems. Understand totally, that sometimes we're budget reefing. I get it. I guess the best thing I can tell you is every time that you're looking to get that next coral or that next fish, right, take $10, take $20 of that purchase and put it aside instead of purchasing that extra fish or that extra coral. Put it aside. Before you know it, you're going to have the money, and your fish and your corals are going to love you for it because you're not going to have near the likely chance of having a catastrophic event happen. So put the money aside, kind of hold back a little on corals and fish, and then go ahead and get it. And you can have it for the next big tank you have too. It's not like a power head or something else that you might grow out of. Paul, you got anything else for me? No.
It's going to take me another second.
Look at he's just digging.
143.
We got Joe here via Vicencio. I think I said that right. Howdy from Texas. I need... Oh, here's an interesting one. Matt Giles says, I need a new pump for a very large skimmer body I have. How do the core pumps fare as skimmer pumps? At this point, Matt, we do not have a volute and needle wheel option for our pumps. It's not to say it won't happen in the future, like many things that we might do, but we don't have one right now. I guess if you're out there, you DIY guys, and you want to come up with your own volute and pinwheel design and print it up on a 3D printer and bolt it on, I'll put the challenge out there to you.
Yeah, and then send me then send me one too.
Yeah, and then send me a volute and a pinwheel too while you're at it, and I'll try to put it on my Reef Octopus that I have at home. Absolutely. Okay, Reefography joining a bit late. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. You guys can share this out here. How many people we got? We got probably a lot of people. Yeah, we got 100 people in here on the live stream, so that's good.
Just chilling.
Yeah, we're just chilling here in the bean bags.
I love everyone commenting here that they got their shirts and everything else from the Toys for Kids drive that's still going on, reef2reef.com.
Yep.
Terrence, I think we gave the number. I said it was about $2,000.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
It was actually almost closer to $2,100, and then the founder of Neptune Systems and president kicked in another $1,000. So we $3,000 went to
the kids.
Yep, went to the kids.
So awesome. So Gregory Martin's asking, we really want one of the Trident Europe. One approximation our France group is waiting infos, clear ones. Gregory, we're working hard to try to get that to happen as soon as possible. I can assure you I am the biggest advocate here. I will be going overseas next week and talking to distributors and stores and everything myself personally. I know I'm going to get bombarded, and it is high on our list, especially now that we're through the Black Friday time, so it won't be much longer.
Terrence has been pushing all of us here at headquarters to find out, what we can do to happen. It's hard to say because also, we have so much U.S. demand.
But I heard the bubble popped.
The bubble popped, right? But that's why it sold out, all online anywhere within 20 minutes.
I will say, though, Gregory,
even
when we do bring some over there, they're going to be in short supply just like they were here in the U.S. So it will be a situation where we're not going to still be able to make everybody happy right away. Hang in there just like the rest of the people here in the U.S. We're doing the best we can.
I see it continuing to remain a unicorn. I'm the realist here, but we will get them out there. And our goal is to get them out there. We want to get them out there. We just have to find the way to make it happen.
Jennifer
and I've been tasked with that. So.
Jennifer from New Wave Aquaria says, I'm quite enjoying watching Paul trying to do math.
I got over it real
quick. Let's see here. Okay, here's a good one. Here's a question. I'll let you answer this one, Paul. It says, Jamie Frank says, I just got my dose today. Been running a Trident for a few weeks. Am I good to set up auto-dosing immediately?
No, I would not. You could, if you wanted to. It's good that the Trident's been running, but you want to make sure that you understand your nominal dose, right? If you know how much additive you've already been doing with another dosing system, then I would say yes.
Or dosing by hand or whatever.
If you've been doing bolus dosing and things like that, I would probably just set up a nominal dose first, make sure you're going to be a little bit in the ballpark.
Yeah, it's a good point that he makes. I think it's a good point. So set up that what you think is your baseline dose in the dose, task, right? The regular dose task. And then that's running independently of your Trident for, a few days, maybe even a week. And you see, oh yeah, that's pretty much keeping it close, or no, it's drifting up or drifting down. Get that kind of dialed in a little bit, and then that becomes your baseline for when you set up the auto-dosing.
I would say that if you're already doing additive and you're already maintaining within about 2/10 to 3/10, 4/10 of a DKH, then go for it. If you're still getting wide gaps, if you're getting, 7 in the morning, 8 at night, things like that, I would try to get that dialed in a little bit more before I turn in Trident controlled dosing. Trident controlled dosing is the finesse, right? It's not the direction.
Right.
So,
Suncrest Reef, here's a good question, Paul. What's the priority if an alarm is triggered from the input settings rather than the email alarm program? Would the input alarm override the email alarm or the other way around? Okay, and let's do this. Let's go onto your iPad so you can explain to people the difference between the input alarm and the email alarm. Can we do that?
Yeah, it's no problem.
Because I think that's going to help people understand the difference before you say which one has the priority.
I believe it is the email alarm.
So...
Okay. So we have... I won't show that version. It doesn't help, really.
Yeah,
so we have... so here I am on the my alarm logs. Things have been looking good. I click on my outlets. I see I have an email alarm outlet. Okay, and then I have a bunch of different stuff in there.
So this email alarm is the original email alarm that you would set up. That is set up. Some of it is set up automatically for you, right?
Yes. Some of this has been set up automatically by running tasks,
and the rest of it is up to you. Now, how is this actually interpreted by the computer, so to speak? Because I think that's the first thing that people really need to understand, right?
How this is interpreted by the computer. I think what you're asking for is, how does it know when to go into an alarm state?
Correct.
Is that what you're asking? So, we are getting a little bit geeky here, right? But, you can see here that I have my last two statements, and my last statement in my alarm.
Well, I think what I'm asking, the leading question I'm asking is, the computer basically continually marches through this list, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
So it starts from the top, it goes to the bottom, and then it goes back to the top again, and it's looking for these conditions all the time,
To
right?
see if it's true.
To see what might be true in this whole list.
So, and in general, what you see right here in this email alarm is going to take priority over what you see, or over another place where you can configure alerts.
Right. So, but first, let me just say because of that, it's going to go through this whole list, and when it gets to the bottom, it's going to, it's basically going to say what was the last thing that was true, and that's what it's going to alert to. So you want to have your most important things last, so that you understand that, like temperature, that's why it's last in this one, because it's way more important that Paul knows that his tank is over or under temperature than it is whether or not his skimmer is full.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So that's why he has that at the end.
And, I don't use a defer statement in my email alarm if that basically defer is, this has to be true for a certain period of time before I actually, make the alarm outlet go on. Because I keep all of my defer statements inside other outlets.
Understood. We don't have to get down into that, but the most important thing to understand in the context of Suncrest Reef's question, I think, is this is the email alarm that was the original email alarm. It actually appears kind of like an outlet in the Apex. But when we came out with the most recent edition of the Apex, we actually added a whole other set of alerts that are configured on the inputs, and they're semi-hidden, right?
Right, exactly. So
But don't you get that through the gear?
You can't get that here. I'm in the system view now, where you can see kind of where the different probes are, and what devices they're connected to. I can also click on this temperature input right here.
Yeah,
let me turn on
thermometer.
let me turn on my. Oops, not that. System touch. So you can so you guys can see it. So if I click on this little thermometer right there, right, I can now search for what exactly I'm looking for. There's a big long list here of going through everything, in which you can kind of see where all the things are. I don't like to look at it like that. I like to look exactly for what I'm looking for. So if I know that I'm looking for a wattage alert, let's say, right, I'm just going to automatically select all my wattage devices.
Okay.
If I'm looking for specifically temperature, right, I will only look at my temperature icons.
And you have all the temperature icons there.
Exactly. And so if I want to set up an alert to one of those, for example, my sump temp, I have a temperature probe in my sump and a temperature probe up in my aquarium. Okay. And
so these alerts do not exist in the email alarm. They exist in kind of like the hidden guts of Apex Fusion that you can't really see, but it's back there, right?
Right. And you can set up exactly how you would want to get an alert from this. So I can go to click on the advanced button here, okay? And then I can say when it's outside that range, if it's lower than 75.5 or higher than 79.5, send me an alert, right? If I want to do it so it's, above a maximum range, below a maximum range, you can just toggle this. You can just toggle this little guy right here back and forth to change that.
Okay, so now back to his question. What's the priority if an alarm is triggered from the input settings rather than the email alarm program? Would the input alarm override the email alarm, or the other way around?
The email alarm would override the input.
So priority is email alarms always.
Yes.
Okay.
So if there's something that's really important, you can put it in the in the email outlet alarm that I was talking about earlier. For your inputs and things like that, you can do there. For your mission critical inputs, you can put them in both places. It really doesn't matter.
Okay, good answer. All right, let's see if we find another one. Some other good one. Here's another Trident question. Okay.
Javier, so you're having a no water sample alert. Biggest thing you can do is go to neptunesystems.com/troubleshooting. Okay, that's going to take you right to the Trident troubleshooting form, in which you can select no water sample.
Okay.
And there's 4 things to help resolve a no water sample issue. Okay, if none of those things do resolve it, from that little form you filled out as you walk through it, just create a ticket from right there, so that way we know what the results of each troubleshooting step were. Yep, that's correct, Terence. And if you go to that website there, you'll be able to walk through it and create a ticket right from there as well if we don't get it resolved for you, if that doesn't get it resolved for you.
Excellent. Excellent. Let's see here. Preset online. Yeah. Sorry, I got to go through all of these. Nobody's queuing them up for me. Dosing. So Jamie Franks says he's been dosing using inferior dosing pumps, so he has an idea. So that's good. Okay, Jamie Francis. Some of these comments are long, and I'm enjoying reading them. So
yeah, there's a lot going on there. Well, that's going on because we're still up in
is anybody else
in the view.
Why don't you? Oh, let's get off of that view. Sorry.
Okay.
We're still on that. My bad.
I was going to show something off.
No, but hang on a sec. While I'm doing that, see if you can find the dose for sale on one of the online sites anywhere while I'm going through these, because we had 2 people ask that question and said it was sold out. So I know it's sold out on BRS. I think it's sold out on saltwateraquarium.com.
I don't want to be showing any favoritism here.
Well, we're not, because if somebody has one out of the guys online, obviously check your local fish store.
Call your local fish store.
Call your local fish store. There is a finder on our website, right? It's still working, right?
We got it working.
We got it working again? Okay, good. Let's see here. Okay, that's a good one, too, that Ryan Crease is asking. We'll come back to that one. Matt Leonard said Aqua Cave, so that's possible that Aqua Cave still has some. I know they're a hot item, for sure.
It appears that we are still in stock at Marine Depot. Dose.
Okay.
I gotta check saltwater
and premium.
And premium.
Okay. Here's a question. I'll take this while you're looking at that, even though they address it to you. Derek Picker says, best way to transfer old data from an old Apex to new, or in my case, best way to back up an Apex 2016 if something was to happen. Probably the best way is to go to the, to your settings on the left-hand side in Apex Fusion, and there is a summary page that you can get that creates a PDF that you can download, and it'll have all of your configuration in there. And if need be, you can copy and paste that from one to the other. Is that the correct answer, Paul?
That is one correct answer.
Okay.
Another correct answer is go to the local dashboard of your Apex, click on the wrench, and then you can save your configuration from there.
Okay.
But now, notice that I said that on your current Apex and Apex Local. I did not say Apex Classic, in which you could load your configuration of your Classic onto a new system.
No, you can't do that.
That's not possible.
Right.
You can only do that from Apex to Apex, and unfortunately, you cannot do it from Apex to Apex L, right? It's got to be a 1-to-1.
Right. Okay, let's see here.
So we are out of stock at saltwateraquarium.com. Going to Premium Aquatics.
Sean SP says, you guys are geeking out now. I love it. Well, thanks for joining us, Sean, and thanks everybody who's sharing the live stream. We're not going to make a long one here. We probably only got about 10 or 12 minutes more, so get your questions in. Everybody who puts in a question is going to be entered into a raffle. I can't do it live right here. I don't have a picker handy, but we'll do it before tomorrow, announce it before the end of the week here. We'll give out, I don't know, we got some T-shirts definitely that are available. We have our Control Freak T-shirts. We have swag, I'm sure, that we can give out.
Premium Aquatics still has dose as well. It says low stock, so those have been going well there. McFukin is back. You need to place your pH and your ORP probe.
So I missed the portion about which probes I should replace if they've gone dry. I'm shopping on BRS right now. Thanks, guys. A note, too, on what kind of probes to get. We often get asked about the quality of probes. There's a wide variety of quality when it comes to pH and ORP probes in terms of the materials and the construction of them. The lowest of low you can get is like a Chinese probe, and you pretty much are going to know what sites they're going to come out of. And if you find a pH or an ORP probe that's probably under $25, it's likely it's not going to be worth the $25 you're going to pay for it. No. There's a difference also in whether it's a single junction or a double junction probe. All of our Apexes come with double junction probes, which is an important distinction. Again, if you were ever now or in the future looking to compare the Apex to any other product that's out there, make sure it's apples to apples. These probes that we use are made in the United States of America. double junction means it's kind of like, I mean, the one of the examples I give is when you enter a jewelry store, there's 2 doors before you get in. So the important stuff that's in the probe is behind a second door, so that it doesn't get as polluted as quickly from the tank water and wear out as quickly or start to go as bad or need a calibration as fast as a single one. Richard Ross is on here. Love Richard Ross, always coming online for a funny one.
Thanks,
the question to be in the raffle is, how are you both so attractive? It seems humanly impossible. Thanks.
It's very kind, Rich.
So
Thank you.
Ed Urowski just purchased an Apex EL Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. If you have any
Booyah,
questions,
Ed.
let us know. Any chance we'll be able to get control with Siri the way you have with Alexa? I know some of that already works.
Shortcuts.
With the new app, for
so
sure.
you want to so with the new app in iOS, you can set up shortcuts.
And then you can call out those shortcuts.
I didn't realize how awesome shortcuts were until Joe was on a couple weeks ago, and I started exploring like how great that is, and my life has definitely gotten better since
Shortcuts
then.
are amazing,
You know?
and those shortcuts can be accessed from
Apex Fusion.
Yeah. But there's still more more customization we can do in that respect, and I know that the development guys are looking at that to expand upon that. Let's see. There's a new version of the app coming to Android. Shane Bowman. Well, I could make funny jokes about Android because I am an iOS guy.
Yeah.
But we do have a number of Android users, not nearly as many as iOS users.
This disparity is significant.
It's significant. But we're not going to leave you out in the cold. We are working on everything so that we do have parity, but I don't think we'll ever be at the situation where we will release them simultaneously. We just don't have the resources to do that. And so, unfortunately, because the Android guys are so much smaller, they usually lag by a few months.
I mean, it's like, can we say how many what the difference is?
I don't even know off the top of my head, but I know it's dramatic. I know that as far as mobile, iOS I think is in the 80 percentile or something like that.
80% of the people that use Apex Fusion are on an iOS device.
It's pretty crazy, and I think it's just there's a correlation there. People, it's the ease of use of the Apex and controlling things and all of that those tend to be, those kind of people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of DIY people who are Android.
So
I was late for Black Friday sales.
So I think I got
No, you're not late for Black Friday sales.
Sean.
You still have right now. Looks like 5 hours to get in on Cyber Monday, Black Friday. So go out there, find the stuff, and you will be able to, get the best deal you can get all year long.
So I think on the next Let's Talk Reef, I'll go through with how to specifically set up shortcuts and make those work with Apex Fusion. No problem, Derek.
So I got an answer for Josh Noble here.
This is a great question.
So Josh, here's the question here is, do you have an upgrade, a way to upgrade so you can sell it on the Wife? Here's how you sell it. You get another aquarium, okay? You set up another aquarium if you don't have one already. And then you say, honey, the most awesome thing is we don't have to buy, an older Apex. I can take my old Apex and put it on that one, right? And now I can put the new one on this tank. And I can reuse that older Apex on the new tank without having to buy another one.
That's an option, right? Another option, Josh, is if you do want to stick with one aquarium, you have a couple of different pathways. Your first pathway is to get an Apex base unit on sale right now for $360. But for $450, you get that Apex L.
Well, also I will state too is I don't know if he bought the Apex Gold back in the day, but if he did, that means he already has a PM2 and a salinity probe. So buying the Apex EL, he'll still be able to reuse all of the gear that he has, including the salinity probe and the PM2 with his Apex EL. And therefore, that $450, it's awesome. I mean, what a great deal. Let's see. We already talked about the Trident stuff, Matt, a little bit. Maybe you missed that. So you can watch that back. Let's see here. Any other questions? Is Google Home integration coming soon? Again, as far as integrations, Google Home is number 2 to Alexa, right? I know that
there's a pretty large disparity there in the home automation world.
Absolutely.
And
and it's definitely something that is, again, it's on our list.
Yeah.
We'd like to support all of the big three, which is really, the Apple Home, the Google Home stuff, and then obviously the Alexa stuff, all are on the the list of support. Just not finished yet. Lots of things to do, and we have to prioritize them all.
That's great, Chris. We're happy to hear you supported a local fish store.
And Richard Ross says, you just said Alexa, and my Alexa wants to know what you want. Alexa, turn on Richard's lights. So, Alexa, tell Apex Fusion, I can't even say because I'm laughing so hard because everybody's running Alexa on the stream. It's like, Alexa, tell Apex Fusion to give a status report. Now, hopefully all of you are getting the status reports that you need. Let's see here. Any more? I need a second Trident for redundancy. We will support you with that. I think that's about it, Paul. I think we're gonna close this down. We're coming up on an hour, which is usually about enough that anybody can tolerate from us. Although we've kept the stream going. I know your back is aching over there on the beanbag.
You need to bring it up. It's when I move in a little bit. I had some back issues this weekend.
No, Paul came in here and is like, "We're doing beanbags. Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's going to be casual Q&A day here." He's like, "Can't we do it at the table?" I'm like, "No,
You'll notice that I haven't really moved at all during this stream.
He had his Napoleon Dynamite voice on. He's like, God!
Come on!
Yeah, exactly. So vote for Pedro. Anyway, it says, sorry I didn't find a device that said Richard's Lights. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. This does wrap up all of our Black Friday edition live streams.
So how long is the sale going on for till tonight, Terence?
Till 9 p.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
That at participating stores and online stores. And as far as future live streams are concerned, we will have a couple of cool things happening, hopefully. I will be out in New York this week.
Okay.
I will be out at Joe Iulo's place out at the Long Island Aquarium, visiting him.
Stream there?
Setting up some new Apex gear over there, checking out his 20,000-gallon aquarium out there that he's so proud of. And rightfully so. It's awesome. I'm hoping to go live over there. I've got a good signal. I will go live, maybe show you guys the aquarium, show you kind of what we're doing, talk to Joe.
It's just a little aquarium.
It's just a small little aquarium. I don't know exactly if it'll be on Thursday or Friday yet because it's not completely nailed down. But watch your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, because it should be a pretty cool visit that I have out there.
Cool.
And then the following week, I'll actually be out in Europe. Mm-hmm. I'll be in Amsterdam at the beginning of the week, and then in London in the middle of the week. Actually, in Amsterdam over the weekend, and then on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday out in London, visiting stores, visiting our distributors. And hopefully I'll be doing a live stream out there at some point too. Don't know where, but definitely click the, see it first on your Facebook and the bell on there so that you get the notifications, because these will probably be some pretty cool live streams.
So will you be doing those your time, or you'll probably be doing those?
I don't know what time they're going to be, but they're going to be what time they're going to be.
Okay.
And
I'm just trying.
People are going to enjoy them. I'm probably going to try to make them so that they're during awake hours over here.
In International Terence time, right?
Yes, it's going to be what it's going to be, where the best content I can find is. And New York is, I think, going to be a really cool one with Joe.
It's a great aquarium.
So Joe, just so you know, is not the biggest tech guy. Mm-hmm. He's been running that aquarium for, 15, 20 years or something like that.
Be sure to videotape him setting up the Apex.
I don't know about that, but we will be teaching him what to do, and Tom will be out there with me.
Great. And
we'll be setting up some of the new gear. He's already running the Apex Classic out there and seeing how we can help him out with that.
Fantastic.
So until that time, it's another great Black Friday, Paul.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me.
One of the reasons why it's great is because of having our control freaks. Right?
No doubt. When we have these live streams, it's all about them. And, if it wasn't for 100, 200, or however many people coming to these live streams and asking the questions and making it interactive, I can assure you we would not be sitting in uncomfortable beanbags doing it.
Yes. We look forward to every single one of these. I can tell you that for sure. Thank you, guys.
So until next time, enjoy those fish, guys, and we'll see you then. I'm going to say goodbye.
Signing off.